here today, and look at them.
That's so cute.
I know.
Looking like a snack.
I feel like we shouldn't be here. Like
me and you should leave.
People. I should hear that or something. I feel like I'm violating some kind of code or something. Snack and my brother don't go together.
That's all.
Okay, guys, you know what? Let me open this up by saying we are so grateful that you guys have been tuning in.
Yes.
Man, we have been hearing from you guys, and it has been so encouraging for us. I know for me, I have gotten handwritten letters.
Emails.
Mm-hmm.
DMs.
Text messages.
Yes.
We have been going down in the DMs.
Yes.
I must say that.
Yes.
You guys have been so
Receptive.
thoughtful and receptive, and I mean, you guys have been tuning in. I didn't realize we have really put some effort into this, and we didn't know where it would go. We didn't know how the world would receive us. You know, being able to talk your truth over 40. You know, we don't know if there's a market for that, but we know that we feel this way. We
That's
know we
true.
have things
Absolutely.
that we have going on. And we don't know necessarily if other people do. And to hear from you guys and to hear, you know, how encouraging it has been to hear our stories and for you to see yourself in us has been a blessing for us.
Yes.
It has.
I agree.
Hadn't it been? It's been crazy.
It has.
I know for me, you know, some of our topics that we've talked about, it always helps me. I'm always helped when I'm with these girls. These girls help me, like, serious, like ABCs. They really do. Even when we're just talking and laughing and joking, I know I'm always reflective when I drive off, and it is something like that I keep in my my file cabinet.
But isn't that what this podcast is? It's just our truth. It's just we're speaking our truth, right?
It is.
It's just in front of a camera.
That's
all it
absolutely
is.
Camera.
That was crazy at first. Hey, thank y'all for our day one. We got some day one.
Well, we got 180 subscribers. What?
Yes.
Moving on up.
180. I know.
I'm gonna do a dance. Oh man, thank you guys so much. But I know you wonder what our fellas are doing here. And we talked about on a few podcasts ago. We talked about marriage.
Yes.
We talked about the marriage whisperers. And how these good girls have been, my good Judy's guys have been married for a long time. Collectively, they have been married for 1,511 years.
Collectively.
I'm gonna tell you this. This relationship that I'm in now, I contribute to them. I contribute to them. And it's just been dinners, social gatherings that we've had, that I've seen their interactions, that they've allowed me, you know, to kind of see or peer in of how they handle conflict, because conflict is normal. It is. Let's normalize that.
Yes.
It's normal. Because me, honey, I read the book, throw him away. He ain't right. Throw him away. Y'all arguing, throw it away. And I'm like, Lord, well, wait a minute. And I've seen them come through some stuff.
Yeah, because that's not how this works. That's not how any of this works.
It ain't. Okay? It ain't. But to all my single ladies, I want you guys to tune in. I want y'all to listen. I want you to, if you want to be married, if you want companionship, if you are in a companionship, I want you to really listen. I want you to glean, because I'm going to tell you, I know that's how I've been able to be successful. I'm 46 years old, and I didn't get this right. I didn't get it right. I haven't been married. And I want to be able to share that with you, because, and it ain't, and let me tell you this, do the math. I haven't been single either. So do the math, okay? And so something was wrong in there, and I contributed to what I thought was right. It was how I saw things, but that didn't mean that it was right.
That's right.
Right.
I always thought a good relationship, a healthy relationship was a perfect relationship.
No.
And it wasn't. Wow. Brother said, I'm gonna let the wives dutifully, the dutiful wives, our June cleavers.
Do it.
I'm gonna let them introduce their husbands.
June Cleavers.
I know it. She ain't over there cooking this shit.
Can we get a Claire Huxtable? Yeah,
Right. Claire Huxtable. That's right.
You're right.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, well. husband.
Lord.
Please
So
don't introduce me as Bill.
no, I will not. No, we won't. So this is my husband of 25 years, Edward Paul Gilbert. We have weathered many storms, but I can honestly say that I would not want to weather any storm with anyone else.
Amen.
See what I'm talking about?
Where is my tissue?
I know it. I'm sick. I got a lump in my throat right
Yeah.
now. But this normal.
Yeah.
This how they be.
He's covered me. He has protected me from, not that in the storm I didn't get the rain, I didn't get the wind, but it didn't overtake me.
Amen.
It didn't take me under because he protected me. And that's what I love most. That's one of the things that I love most, is that no matter what, he is going to protect me.
Now, she said introduce him. I said do all of that.
That was his
Whoa,
introduction.
That was his introduction.
Well, Claire, I need you to introduce your husband too.
I mean, well,
Wait a minute, brother not gonna say nothing? Brother not gonna say nothing?
I know, right?
Oh, no, you all come back. She made me sound like the captain of the vessel. This is old Lakeside Fantastic Voyage.
Well, I guess you are.
Leave it right there, right? Leave it right there.
I love it. I love it. Well, this is my handsome, fabulous, most supporting husband, Roy Mathews, and I'm excited to have him on here with me today. I get to go home and share all these things that we're talking about, and let me tell you, he supports, baby. He be like, let me see the podcast. Is it on? and I love that. You know, he is a huge supporter of me. He always has been. Support all of my dreams, big, small, crazy. You know, he always make me believe that I can make those things happen, and I love him for that.
All right, Brother Roy.
Oh, Brother Roy.
Brother Ed and Brother Roy, guys. See what I'm talking about? This is what we be doing, like at the restaurant, Del Frisco's. They looking in each other's eyes.
Yes, honey, just goo-goo eyes.
Make me think, you know what, I be feeling like, I can do that too. I can do that too. But you know what? What do you guys think, what has contributed to this love? Like, because I'm going to be honest with you. I know some of you may be thinking, oh, that's for the camera.
No.
But you know what? I want to, okay, so like, I'm like Sophia on Golden Girls. Picture it.
Sicily, 1928.
Okay? Close your eyes and just go with it for a minute. But you know what? Love, it covers a multitude of fault. That's what the Word of God says. And it's one of those things that if you ever find yourself in a situation to where you are in love with someone and you turn to that love when something is going on with it, it literally is almost like melted chocolate. It just covers everything. Like you don't see the fault underneath. And so I have had an opportunity to experience this, and we thought it would be befitting for you guys to experience it too. If you can see, my loved one's not here, but I love them.
And mine isn't either.
I know.
He's an introvert. Just let me be really honest. He's an introvert, but this may help someone. You have to let him be who he is. To be quite honest with you. You are two individual souls, and you come together, and that's what it is. And you love each other, but you have to let him be who he is. I'm an extrovert. He's not.
I know, because y'all been married 11 years too.
23 years
too,
last year.
Wow.
Last week.
Yes, I know. If you see,
I'm gonna need you to know that.
I know, I'm like 23 years last week.
Last week. Yeah, last
I've been
week.
married a long time. Collectively, I know if you didn't see that podcast, I want you guys to go back and see it when we talked about how long they've been married and what it was like for them. But today it's not about us. We want to hear from the fellas.
Absolutely.
You know, and for the three women, they've been married for a very long time, and I haven't. But I'm going to tell you, my life has changed for the better in being in their presence and just gleaning and keeping my notebook open and taking notes and taking it back to my situation and making the things that they've gone through applicable to my life. One of the things that women do, we find ourselves in this like competition that we didn't create, the world created for us. Another podcast. However, if you were to ever just slow down and see yourself as your sister, I think you'd be the better for it, because I know I am. And I am experiencing love on top like never before because of it. I know, right?
She kissed with her eyes closed.
I know I did.
She always tell me, go kiss with your eyes closed.
I know it. I would call them like, what y'all doing over there? Holding hands, kicking cans,
Yep.
kissing with their eyes closed. I love it though. I'm for it. I am for it. What do you guys think it's been for y'all, Roy? What do you think it's been? What you got to say for the fellas?
I think it's the for worse. You know, oftentimes when we get married, you know, you hear about the for better or for worse, and it's easy when the for better is there, but it's when the for worse comes knocking at your door. What are you gonna do?
Yes.
You know, I can say that, you know, for our for worse, you know, we meant that we decided to stay in the ring and fight. You know, so, and I don't think that oftentimes the couples that probably give up, or maybe get a divorce, they didn't mean when they said for better, for worse, they didn't mean the for worse. They meant the for better. I'm here when it's better, but what about when the for worse come?
Brother, do you think that was a decision you made before y'all got married or while you were married? What did you?
I think it was while we were married, you know, because we grew, you know, as a couple, you know, a married couple. Because in the beginning, you know, I mean, I really didn't know, but you know, because of the love we shared with each other, you know, our commitment, you know, just the time we spent together, you know, helped us with the for worse because we knew each other. She knew me. I wasn't always hanging out with friends, and she wasn't always hanging out with girls. You know, we had our alone time, but when the for worse came, we knew each other. It was nothing that we were trying to find out. Someone that I had to get to know. So it was the for worse for us.
Do you think you went into it actualizing that you did not want to be a divorced person? Do you believe that you went into it saying, this is not on the table, this is not what I want to have?
Yes.
With Rachel.
And I think that was because of we went through premarital. And in the beginning, we just had some phenomenal people, you know, that coached us along the way when we first got married. We went through premarital before we got married, then went in for worse, divorce proof.
Okay.
So we did a lot of reading.
We had all the foundation.
Yeah,
Okay.
our foundation was strong.
Yeah.
And then when the worst came, those same people were still there in our corner, holding us accountable. Not telling us what we want to hear, but holding you
April
accountable.
and Ed played a part of that.
Yeah.
That
Did you
journey.
really?
Yeah, they
Yeah.
did.
Ed, my brother, were there, you know.
Right.
I remember we had a conversation with April and Ed probably never know. I went home, I told her, I said, man, that nigga. I was like, man, I can't believe I'm not trying to talk with Ed no more. But Ed was holding me accountable, and accountability does not feel good.
Good all the time, mate.
Yeah, it doesn't feel good all the time. If it feels good to you all the time, you may want to start questioning the people that you're speaking with and trying to get accountability from.
right.
Those may not be
Right.
the best people because it's not always what you want to hear. It's what you need to hear. It's accountability.
And make that lump come in your throat.
It does. It does.
It'll make you mad.
Feel seen,
Yeah.
you know, and when you are exposed, especially when you are in error and you don't realize it. We was talking earlier, and we talked about marriages, you know, being on the decline. Of course, it's always been 50% of marriages end in divorce, but that was when we were kids. It's,
Right.
Where is it now?
Right.
You know, we heard a lot of marriages ending after 2020.
Because
They
of
had
COVID.
to, like, be together.
Yeah,
COVID.
yeah.
COVID
True,
was a
sister,
lot of
true.
that,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and that was scary. Like people that we never would have dreamed or imagined over 20 years being married, and they divorced after COVID. You know, what would you like? What do you think brought that on? Like, why do you think that happened? Like,
You know, COVID did an awful lot of things to an awful lot of people tragically, and I think some of the marriages were sacrificing as well. Now all of a sudden you found yourself sitting at home, working at home in the presence of your mate, who you really didn't know, because you had been spending all of your working and waking hours at work. If you think about it logically, we probably spend 65-70% of our waking hours with other people in our business world, and then we're expected
That's
to
right.
come home for a couple of hours a night and get to know our mates, and then go to sleep and get back up, rinse, wash, repeat. Now all of a sudden this thing called COVID comes along, and I gotta look at you every single
day.
day
you can't go nowhere.
Down
There's
the hall.
nothing in place.
walking around the house. I got to listen to you say, baby, 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 come here. Why, you need some? No, I just wanted to see. All of a sudden, we have to figure out who each other is.
You're learning each other all over
And you're
again.
learning each other all over again.
Yes.
What did you do to survive?
Yes.
Cause y'all survived COVID. Y'all all up under
When
each
it's in the
other.
car.
See,
I say when it's in the car.
But
I
you
get
don't
out.
know where you're gonna get
Look,
arrested.
Look, I got my. You got to have an escape. Truth be told, there's two things. One is I like being around her.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's actually pretty cool for me to be around. I have a good time being around her. I have a great time talking with her. I'm trying to chase her around the house. Yeah, I'm trying to do some nasty things. I'm married. I can do that.
That's right.
I can do that.
Let me tell you, keep it going.
But
I'm with the nasty,
when
okay?
I get tired and don't feel like, because I need my space too.
Yeah.
My escape, I head off to the cigar lounge and I chill for a couple of hours. I might only be gone for 2 hours, but that's my time.
Yeah.
I watch some TV, have a 50 gauge, and I'm good.
What's a 50 gauge?
Cigar.
Oh,
And I'm good.
Teach me something
Teach
I don't know.
us. Yeah.
And I'm good.
I was like, you
So
shoot.
the lesson
y'all
in
allow
that,
choking. Y'all allow choking. I want to go.
Is he shooting a gun? What is it
I don't
doing?
think we can come because you can hear him say
why
that's his
can't you
style.
come? Oh, no. Sisters are always invited into the lounge.
Women?
Oh, absolutely.
Field trip?
Absolutely. Y'all want to come? Y'all come to the lounge. Go with your man. Go to the lounge, stuff like that. I promise you get treated like royalty.
Really?
Women
You
take
get
it to the
treated like
next
royalty.
level.
Okay, okay.
Women take it to the next level.
Because I'll be in there choking. They be like, babe, that ain't how you do that. You embarrassing
we'll
me.
teach you. We'll
You
teach
been April?
We'll teach you.
Yeah, okay.
But the whole point of that is each of you have to recognize and have your space away from each other and then come back together again and be okay with that. You got to be okay with your mate having space. You do. And like you said, Rod's an introvert. He needs his space to himself. There's nothing wrong with that. Doesn't matter.
You know, but the world says it is. You know, it makes you feel pressured that that person your person have to be there. You know, and have to be there. If they love you, they'll be there. And I don't think it constitutes love, right? You know, because it's like, think about all the things maybe you've done for your kids. You were not able to be there. Didn't mean you didn't love them. You know, you couldn't be there. You had to go do something else. You know, but I think it's the world. Like how you stand up against that? You know, what the world says and then what you have going on.
Right. For me, I think you have to really be intentional about how you're going to walk in your relationship. You know, no matter what outsiders say, I know that I'm committed to this man, come hell or high water. And things do come against you, you know, whether it be, you know, work, children, everything, anything that, you know, that we do that incorporates two people, individuals, you know, that comes against you, you have to work through all of that. But what I will not do is sacrifice what I have with him, no matter what anybody else says. I think comes a point where you have to make a stand and be true to what you've spoken to each other. You know, let me first say, this is my second marriage. And so I went into marrying my husband today with, I'm not giving up. I'm not going to give up. That is not an option. And I know that there is a way, there's a solution for everything that we go through. Now, whether or not you're willing to take the advice, do the steps, do the work to get through, because it is work.
Yeah.
It is, serious
I don't think people
work.
understand like what work feels like. Like when you hear people say, do the work, that sounds like I'm gonna go home and do the math problems or the problems, I'm gonna solve the problem, I'm gonna do my homework and I'm gonna go home. Or I'm gonna go to bed or what have you. But with work, as a human being doing work, whether it's from therapy or in your marriage, it comes with emotions.
Absolutely.
And our feelings usually drive our behavior. And how we think drives our behavior. I just heard someone say, you know, if you don't renew your mind in this season, you won't make it. You know, because if you don't think different about what it is that you're facing. But I think when I said earlier, when these couples have allowed me to see into their lives, you know, and it's changed my life of how I see things and how they do the hard things. Like Roy said, it was the for worse that helped them stay married.
That's good.
It was how I changed my mind about how you handle the worst. You know, and how when the worst come up on you, you know, what are you gonna do about it? Because it's usually mixed in with your emotions. Well, I'm not gonna go through that. Oh, this nigga ain't gonna make me feel like that. You know, and I mean, I'm not saying that in a derogatory way, but we know sometimes it gets gutter. You know, you're in the trenches. You feeling like forsaken. You know, you do. You feel forsaken. Like, what is this? But I think we lose that. You know, would you say that? Like, I think we lose that. One of the things that Jesus said is that we all must bear our cross. Can you imagine how forsaken he felt when he had to do that? No, he knew he had to do it, but when he was in it, it felt different. It hit different. You mean for me to go through this kind of humiliation? I'm Jesus. You God. They're dragging me through the streets. They humiliating me. They shaming my name. You mean to tell me this is what we got to do?
See, for me, I'm sorry, sister.
No, I was just going to say.
I was going to say, for me, like, the world wasn't a part of that court. The world didn't stand up on that altar with me. So the world does not matter, and that's what happens. So many people are trying to please the people in the world. And you need to be trying to please the person that you lay down with every day, you know, growing, you know, those type of things. Absolutely. But back to your point, you know, part of the work is creating those date nights, renewing your marriage. You know, a couple of years ago, you know, Ed and April, they helped me form a marriage retreat. And where it stemmed from was because I realized that we get caught up, like he said, children, work, the world, life, and those things hit you, phones, social media, and you don't create that time with your spouse. And sometimes, like, even, you know, I've told Roy, you know, sometimes, like, if you're constantly going on dates with other people, sometimes that could be a distraction because you never get to sit down and have that conversation, that one-on-one, you know, with your spouse. And so those people become a distraction because now you don't really have to talk. We can all talk together. But no, let's talk about goals. Let's talk about where we are in life. And if you guys remember on the previous podcast, I said, I'm not that 25-year-old girl anymore. So let me introduce myself.
But you look 25.
Already.
All right.
Already.
Amen.
Watch out there now.
But you have to get creative as you grow in your marriage, you know, and create those date nights. I remember when we're members of Concord, and
Missionary Baptist Church.
That's right.
Over in Oak Cliff.
Oak Cliff, that's right.
Pastor Brian Carter.
Pastor Bailey Drive.
Brian Carter, yes. And so
Well, Pastor Brian Carter is my pastor.
that's right.
Yeah.
All the pastors,
I'm sorry.
family and friends on the roster.
She's so sweet. But like when we've always been a part of the marriage ministry, which, like we said earlier, that was our foundation. But we had did this one marriage retreat, and we had invited Sam Putney to come on and speak. And that particular day, he said, "Oh no, that's my date night, and I don't break that for nobody." Yeah. And we was like, "What?" He said, "No." He said, "We are committed. We have committed ourselves to that day. If y'all want to change the date, da 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 da." I said, "We said, how about y'all create this as y'all date night, and y'all come together?" He was like, "Done." And that did something for me. Even Pastor Carter, he tells us all the time, like, he dates his wife. He said, "You know, I can't mow the grass. We can't clean the house. We pay somebody to do that so we can have time for each other." You know what I'm saying? So, like, you can't do everything. Sometimes you do have to pay somebody to do certain things or say no so you can be there and spend time with your spouse. Like I say, create those date nights. They're important. But anyway, back to the retreat. We started the retreat. What was it called?
Camel
and Pearls,
Camel
right?
and Pearls.
And what it stemmed from was that everyday life, those distractions, and we would take you down to Burnett, Texas, where your phones barely did work.
Yeah.
They didn't work.
And you have when you come in, you got to put your phone up, and you have to stay in tune with your spouse. And we would invite people in to come in and speak and we would play games. Like, it would be so fun for the weekend. And it's like you're on this date and renewing yourself all over again. And we would leave, and sometimes, we would end with renewing our vows or something like that. And it used to be so much fun. I miss them.
It was. It
I
really
miss
was.
them.
That was a great time.
But you know
was.
what?
It was a great time.
Go get back to it. Like, why can't you get back to it?
Well, I mean, it was work.
It was
It was a lot of work.
Yeah.
A lot.
It was a lot of work. And I do miss it. It does, it's great to see like how many marriages stay together.
Yeah.
And we helped a lot of people. But then, those, they say when you doing God's work,
Yep.
then you will be attacked.
You know how else we do it? We may not be doing camo and pearls, but amongst us,
Yeah.
there's a group of us. We all travel together,
Yeah.
and whether it's to Paris or you ladies running off to England without the guys, yes, they left and went
That
to
was a little
Paris
shade.
and
That was
England and without the guys. We're gonna talk about
Been
that. That's a
around
whole
the
nother
world
podcast.
tonight.
But we can run to Chicago too. We don't have to run to England. We can run to Chicago.
We're in
We can-
Chicago. Oh, Chicago.
We did.
But
We did.
We do
That's okay. I didn't mind. 'Cause, I got a fellowship code of y'all. We do that. That's fun.
You got a trip coming up?
we do these couple things together, and that's how you strengthen. Iron sharpens iron. That's all it does. Iron sharpens iron.
really does.
That's a great point.
Every
What are you
time
talking about,
that we're out
tribe?
there, every time that we're out there, every time whether we're going down to Mexico or heading to Europe or wherever we're heading, Vegas, doesn't make a difference. Iron sharpens iron.
That's right.
And we all look out for each other. We
Yes.
all watch each other. We all take care of each other. And then everybody also goes off into their own thing.
But what's the key to that? Transparency.
Yeah.
You got to be transparent
Yeah.
because if I'm
Yeah.
selling you some bull crap, then I can't help you.
Got that.
So, fellas,
Right.
sometimes your pride could kick in a little bit, and you're not really truly being transparent.
Right.
And you got to be.
Yo,
And y'all know I'm real big about accountability.
Yeah.
you be around the guys sometimes. They'll be pretty quick to call bullshit on somebody.
You know what? I realize, I understand, like, guy code, they really don't be telling us what they say.
They not gonna tell
You know, they rather hold theirs, and we be like, girl, get yourself together. What are you
That's
doing?
right.
You
You gotta
acting a
ask the
fool.
right question. You ain't asked the right question. Ask the right question. You'll find out.
Okay.
Ask the right question.
Brother Roy, I want to get back to something that Rachel made mention of. She said that, and we've discussed this on previous podcasts, we said, when you all married us, we were early 20s, 20, 25, what have you.
Yeah.
We're 20, 25 years past that. How have you seen her change?
Man, wow. I mean,
Get it right?
yeah.
No, I'm just playing.
Because really what you share is going to be
You know-
universal for all of us, really,
Yeah.
in all
What
of
I
our
was-
marriages.
It really is.
Yeah.
I mean, my wife is beautiful. I mean, physically, but the area where I've seen her change the most is self-confidence.
Yes.
I mean, I tell you, just her confidence. I mean, she loves herself, and that makes me love her even more.
Okay.
And so I love her for that because she loves herself. She found out who she was and what she loved about herself and what she liked. And when I started seeing that, I was like, I love that. And I think for COVID, yeah, there were a lot of people that got a divorce and everything, but that was for worse. I can tell you, for my baby, she has a place in our home. She calls it her closet. Yes. When she went into her closet during COVID, and when she came out, I mean, it was like just this phenomenal person, this phenomenal woman during
You
that
got to tell us
time.
about that closet.
Yeah, huh?
I said, you got to tell us about that closet.
Yeah.
What you
So
doing there?
she went into that closet, and when she came out, I mean, I didn't see that 25-year-old person anymore. She would always say, "Babe, I'm not that 25-year-old woman anymore, or that little girl." But that's kind of how I was treating her or acting. And then when she started to grow, me as a man, guess what? I had to grow because I didn't have a 25-year-old girl anymore. I had a woman, full-grown woman, so I had to become even a better man, a better husband.
That's a good point.
So, yeah.
What did that look like?
Yeah, what did that look like?
Well, it made me not only just talk about my goals and my dreams, it made me actually go out and put some action with it. Yeah. So,
She
you
put some
know,
fire.
I
yeah.
like it.
She was
Well,
inspired. And I-
was it because her transformation sparked your transformation?
It did, but I tell her this. My wife, she prays for our entire family. And I said, baby, you know what? I said, you go pray for myself. I said, because God hears you for whatever reason. I don't know, I don't know, but, whenever she whatever she prays for, it always comes true because she believes it.
Yes.
I mean, she believes what she's praying for. So
Proverbs
and
31.
And I always tell her. I mean, she know. I'll tell her, hey, babe, hey, you know what? You pray for me.
And you too can have
I
your
believe
husband
that.
speak of you this way.
I believe that. Yeah. So
Absolutely.
yeah. So
So Rachel, tell us about this closet.
I know it.
So okay, so we're empty nesters now. We have 5-bedroom home. So after all the kids left, I was like, okay, what we finna do with all this space? So originally it started out like this was gonna be my she shed, my
Yeah.
prayer where I would go and I would pray, and I had notes and stuff everywhere. And it all came from, remember, War Room, when
Yep,
that movie
that
came
movie.
out, and she talked about her closet. I was like, I need a big closet. So that's where it came from. And then, I started adding a little glam to it. And so now that's where I go and shoot my little videos. But I still go up there and, lay some notes and some prayers up there, So that's my little glam space. My space.
Ed, how have you seen April transform?
Wow. Confidence in herself, in her ability to. April has a giving heart, like
does.
like too much.
Absolutely.
Like, all right, pull back, to the detriment of herself. And so, what I've seen her grow into is a more confident woman. I've seen her grow into a really good businesswoman.
Yes.
And start thinking in
agree.
terms of how can I drive my business, how can I make myself better, and maintain my family, maintain my relationship with my husband. I've seen her challenge people who she hasn't challenged before.
Yes.
It's not always easy when you are accustomed to I don't want to say kowtowing, but basically putting so many other people ahead of yourself. That you sacrifice your health, literally sacrificing your health, and then finally seeing her say, okay, that enough's enough of that. I mean, we would have fights over this. Fights, like, come on, you gotta do this. You got you deserve what you tolerate. You're putting up, and it's slowly but surely, I've seen this confident butterfly come out of the cocoon and spread its wings.
Yes.
And yes, when a butterfly flaps its wings, there is a hurricane on the other side of the world. This one has started to flap her wings, and I like that.
Butterfly
Go
effect.
ahead.
You better
Storm.
You better
It
flap.
means something when that person who's closest to you say something about your transformation.
I see you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I see you.
It does.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
That means
I
something.
see you.
That
It
means
really
something.
does.
We noticed
What
that.
would you say to your worst moment? What would you say to that, fellas? Like to your worst moment in your marriage or your life that you had to stand in front of your family and be, who they looked at you to be. Like, what would you say to that moment for someone who may not have entered into their moment? That moment that transformed you, that when you came out of that storm, you were different. That scar you will forever look at, it made you somebody else. Like,
Wow. The moment you came out of the storm, do you ever really come out of the storm would be probably my counter. But I would say for me, transformation, April said this is her second marriage. This is my third. This is number 3. I done had one leave because I was an idiot.
okay,
Oh yeah, I was straight ass. I get it.
okay,
I've had one die,
okay.
32-year-old widower with 2 children, and I have April. We've been married now for 25 years, heading gracefully into 26 years, and then we're gonna be that old couple that you see on the bench, just kind of.
Amen.
That's right.
That's Colonel Sanders and his wife.
That's
we
where
never
we're
knew
gonna-
his wife.
That's
where
Santa
we're gonna
Claus.
be. Yeah, that's where we're
I
gonna
love
be.
that.
But coming out of death and into life again with April, which brought its own controversies, that was probably the most trying time because it really, literally had to call out family and friends.
That was.
Really, had to call. Oh, it's too soon, and why are you with her? And she's just young, and she just wants you for your money. I ain't got no damn money. the electric bill is electricity is barely on. We are eating hamburger and rice. There is no money
Hamburger
over here. There
Calling
is
this Salisbury State.
I promise you, it was like she said, don't you let the lights go off. The lights weren't going off, but there was a couple of days we were rubbing nickels together going, Lord.
they were flickering, huh?
Right. But
That's the story.
they were family
Yeah.
and friends who literally were like wishing against us. And I don't have a problem telling somebody exactly which highway exit they need to get off on.
Yeah.
And that had to happen
And-
because I had to protect mine.
And that did happen, and I actually felt we weren't married, but I felt bad because it was his family, and I was like, I don't want you to sever or disturb any relationships that you have with
Don't
your
you think
family.
it's crazy? Like, okay, cool, okay. Don't you think it's weird? My sisters and I was talking about this later, of that how I have strong convictions for what you should deal with. Like I got to go to the altar because y'all's relationship is the way that it is. Like so let me give you an example of what that means. That you meet somebody and you going through something with this person, and I feel convicted by it, and I need to tell you.
That's called mind your business.
That's exactly what that's called.
Right.
Mind your
Right.
business.
Mind your business.
Okay, let me get my cup because that's exactly what that's called.
Yeah.
Mind your business. Because my shoe is not your shoe.
shoe.
And what I have grace for, you don't have grace for it.
Right.
If I were to put my foot in your shoe, I wouldn't survive.
Right.
If I say to, that's why I think you have to be careful with that mess about, girl, I wouldn't put up with that if I was you.
Right.
Or I don't want to hear if I was you kind of advice.
Right.
I don't want you to put yourself in my shoes. You couldn't handle it.
How did you all come out of that? Give us practical steps.
Yeah, like what did you
Give
do?
people practical steps for how to deal with that.
So for me, I think first let's just say I think that whenever there's a death or because he lost his wife, and so I think in everyone's mind that there was a certain amount of time, there was a certain amount of he was supposed to do things a certain way to grieve his wife, but he had, and you could speak better on this than I can. You just speak on it, and I won't.
Death wasn't sudden. We had time to prepare. So I mean, this was a process, and so I was able to move on, and I also wasn't willing to be paralyzed, but to move on forward for us, we had to establish boundaries with people, and slowly those all. I mean, everything's great, everything's wonderful, and it didn't take long for things to flip. But what I've learned over the years is, and I said this earlier, you deserve what you tolerate. If you tolerate people in your business, then you deserve that stuff. If you let people keep breathing into your business and speaking negatively into your life and bringing their trash with them, if you let them, then you deserve that. And I wasn't willing to do that. I wasn't willing to. I can make my own life hell if I want to. I don't need your help to bring stuff in. So we had to put up boundaries around friends, around some family members, to protect ourselves, to protect our children, and give ourselves a chance to grow. You don't plant a tree or a flower in a garden, not water it, take care of it, fertilize it, do all of the things it's got to take root. Well, it ain't going to take root if people keep on pulling at it and stuff. It's like, okay, we got to put some boundaries up. That's what we did. We put some boundaries up. We grew. We moved.
Okay.
We moved. For me, that was the biggest thing because I come from a very close, tight-knit family.
I do too.
And I didn't even meet some of his family members until I met his mother 2 days before we got married.
Shut the front door.
And his sister right before I walked down the aisle,
That I
and
didn't
some
know that
people
part.
at the reception. And so for me, I said, "Oh,
Got to go.
we don't. I can't do that. My family."
Is it
It's
that
like
you
a-
couldn't do it, or you just?
I just felt
looking
like-
back at it now, could you have done it?
No,
Okay.
I couldn't have because I felt and I feel that my family is at that time a part of my covering because maybe they could see something that I couldn't see. Now it would be up to me to receive whatever but I needed them to know who was going to be a part of their family. I needed him to know who he was about to be a part of. And I was totally honest with him. I was like, listen, I got issues. I come from a crazy family.
Okay.
So
Already.
Disclaimer.
yeah, I'm giving
My
you an
people
out.
crazy.
I'm giving you an out, and if you want it, take it. Ain't no hey.
If I tell you I'm giving
you
you
know-
an out, I'm going with you.
Now, you know what? But I was very honest with him. I was like, listen, I have been through a lot, and so he was like, oh.
I ain't never had nobody tell me, because people you hold that stuff in. You ain't gonna tell me all your baggage. How you gonna sit there and talk about
Oh wait, she got you. Y'all like fell in love, but then she said you can leave.
It's a whole nother story of how this went down.
So she had sent her
we got to change
representative.
the ratings on how this all went
Yeah,
down.
so we're not going that way. We're not going that way.
Okay, well,
She had sent her representative, and then 2 days
Yes.
before the wedding, she decided to let him all see
is
it
that
all.
what that was?
Yeah.
We
Man.
crazy. And I know
Well,
I've been
no,
acting
no,
like
okay.
Princess died, but
She let me
really,
know well in advance.
I let him know well in
Well-
advance, and actually some of the things came, to pass, because like my mother was a very boisterous, colorful woman.
Colorful, yeah.
I like that word.
Very colorful
I
woman.
use that word
and,
too.
And I said,
She's so
listen,
colorful.
I said, my mom can kind of,
You said my mom will cuss at you.
I said, she will cuss at you. And he said, and I'll cuss her back.
You know what? I believe that with my soul. Did you hear him say that his family, he didn't have that problem because he wasn't going to tolerate that?
Right. And I was like, wait, you will? I said, no, don't do that.
Not a Southern woman, you can't do that.
I said, don't do that. Don't do that. He was like, no.
And it's from the north.
Yeah,
They
know he
different.
said
They
it.
different in the
They are
south.
different.
Us
And-
little Southern belles are a little different down
Yes,
here.
we are.
We got to come in with the tea and the mint.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir, master.
But you know what? When he met my family, I don't know what it was. My grandfather called him Mr. Ed. And everybody was like Mr. and everybody really respected him. And I think he just took a place in my life where it was, he wouldn't let anyone talk to me any kind of way.
You know
He
what? At
wouldn't-
your 50th, at your 50th birthday, when we did the cruise in Miami, that's how they treated you then. It was April's. Okay, so we went to Miami. We like to celebrate. These
We love
girls
to
celebrate,
celebrate.
honey. They celebrate. You got a promotion. Well, let's celebrate. Okay, so it was April's 50th and not anniversary, birthday, and she rented a yacht, and we all went to Miami for 48 hours. It was quick.
It was.
However, I walked away remembering it was your birthday, but they celebrated the both of you. They didn't. Your family.
When they spoke of her, they spoke of
They
him.
spoke of Ed. You remember that?
That's beautiful.
They did. They did. When they had words, they spoke of April and Ed. Mr. Ed.
Right.
Okay? They did. You guys
He
were
over
a
there
unit.
looking like a mister too, ain't he?
Yeah,
Am I missed?
yeah.
The good
Rachel
mister. I'm a good mister. Please make me a good
The good
mister.
mister. Yes, they did. They did.
I mean, they did. You know what? These fellas here, they are the epitome of, I believe, of what God would intend for a husband to be. Good, bad, and indifferent. Like all of it. Honestly. And I don't say that lightly. I mean, I've been around them for some years now. And I've heard the story, and then I've seen the backup, the evidence, that follows of how they treat their wives, and how they handle, like how their wives are because of them, because they are married. I've been able to see that. What you say to that, Roy, of what was your contribution to your marriage?
My contribution to my marriage, man, wow.
What you bring to the table?
I think, what I bring to the table, I bring, first off, commitment, to my wife and my marriage, because we had a situation where Rachel and I were going through something, and we had a couple that was walking with us from Concord that was holding us accountable, which was Anthony and Katrina Long. And so they told us, they say, if y'all need us, call us. Well, for me, you don't tell me that, because I'm going to see if you mean what you say. It was like 11:45 at night. We needed them.
Yeah.
They got up out of their bed, came over to our house. They sat on our couch. They looked at both of us. They said, why don't y'all just get a divorce? And for me, I was like, wow, this nigga just told me. I thought you were going, you know,
never
like,
heard
just
that.
get a divorce.
Well, they had done been over a couple of nights, a couple
More
of
than-
times.
yeah.
Probably about 10, 12 times. Late
So,
at night. So after
know-
that last one, they was like,
Look at here.
get a divorce.
But I was committed to my marriage. I wanted to provide for my wife, my children, you know, and I'm a worker, you know. I go out, I'm a provider, you know. So that's what I bring, you know, love, commitment.
How did you guys go? Because I've never heard that part. Out of all these years I've known you, I've never heard that story. How
was
did
deep.
y'all come back from that when someone that is apparently counseling you says
Your mentor.
your mentors
Let me
just
tell
get a
you.
divorce?
Let me tell you.
Boy, dive into that.
We're
So,
not-
because
I'm
I've
gonna
never
tell you this.
heard that
So-
before.
That's stunned
This is
me.
surprise
Just
to
hear
me.
that.
So here's what happened. So Rachel decides, you know, after that, you know what, I'm leaving. She packed her suitcases, got her to go out the door. She said, I'm leaving. Before she knew it, I was behind with my suitcase. And she said to me,
Going together.
am I right?
Don't play
She
no
said to me,
games.
she said, where you going? I said, where we going?
Well, yeah. Yeah.
Well, wherever we going, that's where we going. She said, no, I'm going to get a room. I guess we about to go get a room. Because we made a commitment. We said we would never leave each other's side. We have never slept apart whenever we were into. Now, it might be a gap about this big in between us. You know, you put about 2 or 3 people there. But that bedroom.
You clinging onto the side of the bed?
Oh, yeah, man, about to fall off.
Your people are my people.
But, you know, we decided
hard
that, you
when
know,
you
hey, that's
married.
what we meant. And at least I did. I was going to hold her accountable to that, you know, because I knew that I didn't want a divorce. And so.
Right.
And we did have a lot of people that held
Yeah.
us accountable. Like, I find myself today giving them their flowers. You know, like I say, Ed and April was a part of that journey. Marci was a part of that journey. She was supposed to be my friend, but then she became our friend.
I love them.
Like,
you know,
my dog.
I do. I love it. I love y'all.
she was like, you gonna ride this one out. She was like, you ready? And that's when the fight for me came, you know, where it was no longer about Roy, because at one point in our life, it was like I worshiped him. He was my everything, you know, and God was like, no,
We make decisions in
I'm
those
your
feelings.
everything.
Don't we make decisions in
Yeah.
the feeling?
yeah,
And did that feeling pass? You didn't always feel that
Feel
way.
that
that's
way.
right.
Sister,
And
tell
so-
me more about that. What happened with that?
So in the midst of all of that, because like I said, I felt like I had him on a pedestal, and he was perfect. This is our second marriage, both of our second marriage, and I just felt like it was crazy, y'all. Transparency, right?
Okay.
Transparency.
Transparency, that's what we do.
Okay, all right. You know, we have to make sure everybody
Yeah,
good. You know, we
absolutely.
safe here.
Absolutely.
You know, we coming both from the marriages that we came from. To me, they were toxic relationships, right? So you bring a lot of that baggage into your new marriage, right? And so even things that happen to you in your childhood, you know, those things follow us.
For sure.
And you don't even know that it's following you until you face with it.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
somebody brings it to your attention. And so, like I say, Roy, he was like the sweetest thing ever. He you know, took to my kids. You know, they liked him, and I didn't bring a lot of men around them. So he was like the first one, fresh out the marriage. You know, he was the first person to meet my children. And we decided to be together. We got married, and this was my everything. He was amazing. Like, this was 8 slept Roy. You know, people was like, do y'all ever do anything without each other? No. This my homeboy. We going to the game together. We did everything together. This is all I knew. Because I was, you know, I lived in California. I had moved back to Dallas, and this had became my world. And God said, So I found myself worshiping him, and God said no. And so he knocked him off the pedestal. You know, prior to the marriage, you know, because we was dealing with some things with the exes, you know, they were probably like, I guess, faced with like, they hate they ever, you know, it's like I hate how you gone. So you're going to deal with some stuff. They said the ones that find love first is the ones that catch hell. And so we call hell. You know, from the slicing the tires to the cars on flat.
I didn't know
the
that.
windows busted out.
You say you didn't what?
You know.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah, we dealt with some stuff. And so
Talk about it.
talk
about
it.
I mean, we've been friends 17, 18 years. I didn't know any of that.
I know, friend. It's yeah, and I'm here. It's time to tell the story. And so, like I say, prior to that, you know, we made some choices to do. I did, you know, because I was like, I don't want to deal with that. That's too much. That's drama, you know. Even though I had children, I always said I would never date a man with children. Well, I fell in love with him, and his came with children and an ex-wife. And so we just had to deal with that. And so, like I say, come outside, cars, boom, boom, boom. And I was like, you know what? I ain't got time for this. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to hang out with somebody else because this too much drama. And I think that put Roy at a stance to where I can't trust you. And I've never been able to trust women in my life. You know, from my mom to my ex-wife, you know, he has a story, and that's his story to tell with his childhood, and I'll let him share that if he wants to. But that's the baggage that you carry into that next relationship, thinking that everybody is going to leave you or everybody's going to hurt you type deal. So we went into the marriage.
Right.
We carried that baggage, and because of what I did to him, you know, hanging out with somebody else, and he was trying to get my tires fixed and all that stuff, even though we were just dating, but we had been together like, what, 3 or 4 years or something like that? No, maybe 2.
Not even that long.
Maybe 1. But it was that thought in the back, and we decided to move forward. But that baggage was still there, right? So we go into the marriage, and I'm in it to win it. You know, children, they played a big part as to how they dealt with the marriage. You know, his children, you know, that's my mama. Now my kids, you know, they had kind of moved on, fell in love with Roy. But all of that stuff played a part in our marriage, the ex-wife, the children, and this and this and that. So fast forward, you know, infidelity happened, and it was a tit for tat. You did it, I'm going to do it. Oh, you did it, I'm going to do it. You did it, I'm going to do it. It was like we was playing jump rope, right? And one point I was like, that's when Anthony was like, get a divorce. You ain't going to do nothing different. Just get a divorce. Y'all want to be together. And it stung. Yeah. It was like a hit in the stomach. I was like, why would y'all say that to us? Like, I was devastated. I'm not sure about Roy, but I was devastated. It was like somebody hit me in my stomach. But I had got to a point to where I was tired, and I was like, I got to do something for me because I was broken. The marriage I came out before, you know, it was deal with the same things, you know, where it was infidelity, it was abusive, you know. So I still had my suitcase too that I was dealing with. You know, you just like da 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 da, or why would you do that to me? You know, I've been down this road. Like, why would you know? So I was like, I'm tired, and I decided that I was just going to do me, and that's when I met Marci, and she taught me how to fight. She taught me how to pray. She came in and anointed my house, and it's like I didn't even see him no more. You know, I was like, God, that's for you to deal with.
Exactly.
I got to build me up because I got some stuff over here from my past, from my childhood, from my ex-marriage, and I can't fix him. You just going to have to deal with this. So I focused on me. Granted, I loved him through it, and I wrote it out, that long suffering that Marci talks about, but I wasn't connected because I was fixing me, because I knew I couldn't fix this until I fixed me, you know? And so when I started to work on it, and that's been a part of my journey, then I was able to start to see him. What I wanted from Roy as we processed everything was him to see me and that I had changed. But he would always say, no, you trying to manipulate me, or you just want me to do this. And I found myself, it's not that Roy had ever seen or known anything that I had done, but God said, tell him. Be transparent. I was like, I know you lied to my grave. What you mean, tell him? And I did, and he said, trust me. And I was like, remember I told you, I was like, if I was throwing, I was like, okay, I'm going to trust you. I don't know where this going to go.
You can't fix what you don't uncover.
Right.
And if love covers a multitude of fault.
And I didn't trust it, but I did it. Because I remember somebody told me, you're going to be obedient. You got to be obedient because he don't play no games. And you're going to find out the hard way. And I did a whole lot of stuff. I found out the hard way. And so I came to him and I told him everything that I had done, infidelity, right, wrong, whatever. And he was like, what you say? You just want me to tell you something. And I said, God, you played me. You played me. But it's okay. And I remember he didn't even really receive it. I don't know. He was like, you lying. You ain't tell the truth. I was like, no, I'm serious. Like, he was like, no, you just trying to get me to tell you something. That's okay. And I went to God. I was like, you better get him. And what you tell me, Marci? No. I told God, you better get him.
Well, I wanna say this about my relationship in it. It wasn't why it worked was because it was not. I think your relationships with God, even in your marriage, is individual.
Yeah.
It is how you
It
see
is.
God,
Absolutely.
and I think that in life, period, I try to exude this, even in my faults, is to have a relationship with God because we need that navigation. He becomes our rudder, and so my relationship and their relationship was more so about their relationship with God.
Right.
And how they related to God.
She did.
And how allowing God, I know we say that at marriages where you let God be that third cord and you
right.
not so easily broken. That's real cute. That's a part of that ceremony. But when you really mean that, you meaning that I'm going to let that relationship that I have with God supersede how I think
That's right.
and how I live my life. And so my part that I played in it was more so the accountability to God,
To God.
reminding her and him of how you made the covenant with God to
Right.
be a good human being in this earth.
Because people will probably look at her and say, how can you counsel? You've never been married.
Yes, you haven't
But it
been
was
married.
she never, ever counseled our marriage.
They had counselors for that.
Right. It was us as individuals that she was growing, and you know, Roy didn't see it at the time. But for me, I got it, and I stayed in the ring, you know. And she was just like, "Sister, she would always tell me, it's a breakthrough coming." I'd be like,
How to go to God and get a breakthrough.
yeah,
How to go to God and get a prayer answered.
yeah,
Because God, you know what? We normalize God and we make him like us. And then you don't get a prayer answered
Right.
because he says you're not like me. I'm
Right.
God.
Take me
I'm
out of the
sovereign.
box.
We're not the same. You know how you say you're not on my level? We're not on his level. And so when you go to God, how we go to God or how humans go to God, you have removed him and you put him on your level. But he says in the word, or it said in the word, oh, magnify the Lord with me. Because he's much bigger than who we are. And when we shrink him to our small thinking, we get no results. But when you put yourself where you need to be as his child, and he's God, he's sovereign, creator of heaven and earth, hung the stars and the moon, he's still there. They're still hung. The moon's gonna come up tonight.
Right.
Sun's gonna set tonight.
No matter what you do.
When you put that in that retrospect and look at it over the totality of your life, then you're able to see your situation as nothing.
that's right,
And long suffering is very easy.
yeah,
Because it has nothing to do with where you are right now. Because that is just not even a fraction. Like, I don't know the fraction of the 10th to the 10th to the 10th of what happened in your life would mean to the fullness of your life when you stand before God and say, you gave me all this, Lord, and this is what I did with it. And he says, then I gave you this. I gave you this marriage. I redeemed you. I redeemed the time, and I gave you this marriage. I gave you this counterpart. What did you do with it? So how you felt in that moment meant nothing. And all I was just that conduit to remind the both of them. And they were open and willing and able. Because
and that's
since
the
then,
key. You do
yes,
have to be open to it.
absolutely. And it was not easy. Because both of them was like, well, what about her? And what about him? Because it feels like that. And I think that's the part that we don't get through is the feelings. I did nothing, said nothing about their marriage.
Because we had the tools. We had the foundation. Like I said, you know, Roy mentioned, we had premarital, we had divorce proof, we had growth groups, we was part of the marriage ministry at Concord. We had all the tools. We knew what to do, but it was that thing in between, that trust.
I also want to say it was also the tribe.
Yeah.
let's be transparent here. Sometimes you can have people in your ear and they will be an advocate for the left side of what you shouldn't do because it's fun, or maybe they're miserable in their lives. I really don't know, or what have you. It's just how they live their lives. They don't encourage you to do the right thing. They're not an advocate for it. It works. What that mess is, speak to it. You know what it is. It works in their lives. That's what they do. I cheat. I do this, or it's nothing wrong with that. Text him back. You know, that works for you. It doesn't work over here. It will disqualify me over here. And so what? I'm looking like a sucker to you then. I'm not now. I'm not now. And sometimes it looks like that. It looks like you've been played. That's the thing about following God, and I do want to add that here. The thing about following God is that you have to get over the instant gratification.
Because he will make you sacrifice.
It is no
all
instant
day
gratification when you are
long.
following the Lord.
Yes.
There is no such thing as instant gratification. There is no get
Ain't
rich
no
quick.
microwave.
Exactly.
There is no, I'm balling out of control. It's nothing like that. And sometimes you will feel like you are taking an L. But that's why it matters to you that who's sovereign to you in your life. If God is sovereign to you in your life, then that L won't sting as much as it would have if you need to now impress the naysayers.
So what you did for them was help them solidify their relationships with the Lord
God.
Jesus Christ.
I'm out the picture.
And you're out the
you
picture.
know,
That's all you did.
all I needed to do was, it was almost as though I was a booster cable.
Right.
Yeah.
The battery was already there.
Yeah.
Good-
I did not
good
introduce them to
analogy.
God.
Yeah, good analogy.
They knew God. I reminded them who God was in their life. I showed them how to get back to him in their lives.
Make him
I
center
showed
their
them what the
marriage.
distractions were in their lives. And then I stepped back.
And we had to do the work.
You have to do that work.
I love it, friend.
You have to. And in my stepping back, I may not have physically been there, but there were nights that I didn't sleep because God may have woke me up and said, it's some trouble coming. That's the thing about when you attach yourself to people. You be careful. You want that tribe, but it's a responsibility to that tribe. It is a huge responsibility. I can't know what I know and consider it as tea. It's a responsibility for me because God don't tell you things about people for you to use it, to gossip. It is for you to change we say this, and I chime in on this. It's because when he told the disciples that I want you to pray that kingdom will come on earth as it is in heaven, you had to give permission for that to happen. There had to something had to transfer. Something had to physically happen for you to go get. It's like if I want to have breakfast on this table, I got to go in the kitchen, cook it, and bring it here. It will not miraculously appear, or I have to have someone do it. It's the same thing with if we want our marriage, if we want our life, if we want our friendships to be like what God intended for it to be. I got to do something for it to be that way. And the thing about being earthly beings experiencing, Christ-like, situations, or if we want that utopia that we hear about or that nirvana that we hear about, then we got to go get it. And to me, what go gets it means is that you may need to pull back since you can't go to brunch this Sunday. You may need to go pray. You may need to go in your closet and go speak those things that are not as though they were. You can't go Friday for brunch because they're not talking what you need to be talking.
That's right.
They're not thinking how you need to be thinking. Right now, you need to be thinking different. And that's just what I was. And sometimes I caught some hell for that. I'm not going to lie. I had I had to, because sometimes people look like, who she think she is? It really, did I not? I caught hell for that. But, I don't answer to them. I'm looking for the Lord to say, well done, good and faithful servant. And I need to know that I've sowed those seeds for when I need it. Because I'm going to need it,
My Elizabeth.
Yeah.
So, brothers, give us practical tips as we begin to close out. Give us practical tips on what some of the people in our audience may be looking for in terms of what you see in your marriages and what long-lasting relationships should look like. Give us some final closing words on what you believe should be not necessarily the perfect marriage, but the joining of two imperfect people.
Yeah, it is the joining of two imperfect people. I'll say first off, you got to have faith.
Yes.
You do, and faith without work is dead. So you're going to have to put in the work. It can be painful at times, but incredibly rewarding most of the time. You have to have trust and confidence in your partner. You have to appreciate and recognize that the person that you fell in carnal love with is not the person that you are going to grow old with. They are going to change.
That's good, Ed.
Physically, mentally, emotionally, and guess what? You're going to change with them. And you have to be able to recognize that and appreciate that as your faith individually grows, your faith as a couple continues to grow, and it changes as well. And you start to realize those things that we've been talking about for the last hour here. You don't do this alone. You don't make this journey doesn't happen all on its own. It happens with the village.
Absolutely.
And I like that. You got to respect the tribe, but when you have a tribe, you're accountable to the tribe. You got to be accountable to the tribe. So, it does. It really does take a lot of tribe, but it's worth it. It's worth it. Here's what my advice is, like, don't settle. You ain't got to settle and sacrifice for him or for her to get him or to get her. Trust God, and it'll happen. We started this by talking about today's generation and the high divorce rate and things like that. They're this microwave generation. If I don't like it, well, I'll throw it out and I'll just go ahead and get another one.
Right.
That ain't how marriages work. That's really not how relationships at all should be working. But it's surely not how marriages work. We're not a microwave society. This is work. You go into a kitchen to cook a meal. When Mama went into the kitchen to cook a meal, she put her foot in it. And you knew it was done with love, and it took time. She didn't pop it in the microwave and hit one and it curled up for 60 seconds and you
got you some.
My relationship is a meal. This is a whole meal.
I like that.
Oh, see that one?
I like that.
Look at a
Feel all
bush.
warm
I know,
and
look at her.
fuzzy. I always be feeling like I shouldn't be looking at that.
No, I love it. It validates me. I love it.
I do too. It really
Love
does.
that.
It's kept me
Black
in
love.
love.
I
It
love
does.
that.
It
Brother
does.
Roy.
Yeah.
Yes. What you got to say, Roy?
Well, what I would say is for marriages, male and female, know why you're getting married. What is your reason? I mean, if it's because of finances, I believe it's going to fail. It's as simple as that. It's going to fail. If it's because of material things, it will fail. But material things are only temporary. But Rachel said it earlier. I mean, we're like, to this day. I mean, she still have her girlfriend. She still got her tribe that she hang with. But this is still my dog. This is still my best friend. This is who I share things with, and I love her through everything. I mean, if we're gonna be out on the streets, we're gonna be out on the streets together.
Yeah.
That's right.
If she lose her job, I lost my job, and we both have been in that situation to where hey, we were there for each other. So, I mean, for us, that's what it's built on. Just that commitment, as I keep saying. Going back to, it's that commitment. Do you mean it? Are you sincere when you say that? Or you just marrying someone because of money, things, the way they look. I mean, for better, for worse.
For worse. I think that was profound to say that for worse piece.
It was.
It was.
Goodness.
That drew me
Tish,
in.
your boat's not here.
No.
However, you have sustained a 1,511-year marriage yourself. What would you say?
I have 23 years. It takes courage, number one. Courage to, I guess, attach your heart to someone else that is so different, uniquely different than you. He is an only child, my partner, my spouse, my husband, my friend. He is an only child. I am not. I am from a multiple sibling situation. And so going into that was a lot different. He is an introvert. I'm a little bit of an ambivert. I can be an introvert or I can be an extrovert. It just depends on where my energy lies. And so having to deal with that is a little different. It's a little bit, seemingly it's a situation where I wish he would have been here. I wish we could talk about how we love each other. I wish we could have shared a little bit more about our intimacy. But he's not comfortable with that. But in all of that, you have to let your partner be who he is. And in that situation, I love him still. It just is what it is. I'll go home to him and I'll kiss him.
Put your eyes closed.
With my eyes closed.
All right. I think it's an amazing thing. Guys, thank y'all for sharing your marriage.
Yes.
Thank
Marriage
you.
is a beautiful thing.
It is. It's so intimate. It really is. And it's delicate. So you do have to be careful who you share it with. You really do. You really do. Because everybody doesn't mean well. And it is true. We have an adversary. We really do. We have an adversary. And its natural progression is that we not be together. But one can send 1,000, 2, 10,000. Like, do the math. We better together than we are apart. So I'm grateful for this tribe. This is my tribe. Get your own tribe. Thank you, guys. No, you can sit with us. I'm going to continue to say that. You can. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Yay! Let's congratulate the guys for having the courage to come on here with all us girls and talking with us today. Thank you, guys. See you later. Bye-bye.